Hi there, this is Dan Mongrain of Voivod. Some people call me Chewy, and you're watching Agoraphobic News.
Hey, Mills here of Agoraphobic News, this time with Mr. Dan Mongrain of Voivod. Hello, sir, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, doing great.
We've seen each other a few years back
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
Serbia.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because like you signed my From Wisdom to Hate vinyl, and you said like it was the first copy ever that you even had in your hands. So yeah,
That's true. Yeah, I remember that.
so I feel lucky about it.
That's
That's
cool.
really cool. Yeah. So do you have some memories from Belgrade shows? Because you
Yeah,
had like two shows there. So do you have any
yeah.
recollection of that?
I remember one show we played in a. There was a kind of a library downstairs, and I
Hmm.
went to see it. And then I remember uh, playing in that club when we where we met. We did an interview on the balcony or something like that,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and on the terrace. And it was a fun to be there, and we really enjoyed the to play Serbia again. And I remember. Was it there? I'm confused sometimes with memories, but is it in Serbia? There's a park with tanks and dinosaurs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's it.
Kalamagdan, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we really enjoyed the ride, and it was pretty impressive to go there too. And metal fans are really, die hard and very welcoming. So we had a good time.
Yeah, yeah, there's like a big fortress. So it's called Kalamagdan Fortress. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you went to a war museum. It's really cool.
Ah, I don't think we had time, but
Yeah, yeah,
maybe next time.
yeah, it's like on the fortress, and it's like it has a lot of cool items, like from ancient period onwards, like
I
to.
remember that the many tanks
Yeah, yeah,
from
yeah,
different
yeah,
era, and some of the crew explained us what was it was all about. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Okay, so we have a lot of questions coming from the fans, but I'll start first with my patron, Amber Dawn. So she sent me like 5 questions. So and she said like that you're her favorite guitar player. So yeah,
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
So let's start with first question. So I heard that you pick mushrooms. I think it's very cool because I've always thought mushrooms were very alien-like but earthy at the same time, which is so Voivod. So it is very unique skill. You have to know exactly what you're doing so you don't pick the wrong ones. How did you learn how to do this? Did you take a class or learn it from on your own, or and do you have a favorite type of mushroom?
Yeah, actually, thanks for the question. It's very
Yeah.
interesting subject. I really think mushrooms are one of a kind and kind of alien too. It's
Yeah.
so different than any vegetation.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, and that's why I came up with the song title "Sonic Mycelium," actually,
Yeah.
because of reading on the mushrooms and all the connection that occurs underground and the communication network,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
between
Yeah.
plants and trees and. So yeah, I've learned it on my own. I've bought books and years after years with friends too. I have friends that knew a little bit more than me, and we read the books together and sent picture and analyzing. And I have friends that studied a bit the mushrooms. They went to school and had a so recently I've learned more and more, but I have always play safe. Like I always double check and triple check the identification, because you can die
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
read the wrong ones, and so you don't want to mess up with it. And So I always go for the safe and the ones that I know. And when I discover a new one, I really make sure that I actually went to pick up mushroom yesterday, and I had the I don't know the word in I'm French, and some of the words are Latin, but we have our own names in French
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So I really like the morels, the matsutake, which I discovered lately. I didn't even know it was growing here, but the taste is so cinnamon, spicy bread, sweet, but it's amazing, and I like that too. And the chanterelle tube. Uh, Craterel. I don't know the word in
yeah.
English, and so when I like them all. I'm really passionate about it, and it gives me some room for more music after I go in the woods and pick some up.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
And so you mentioned this song, Sonic Mycelium. So did you write the lyrics, or was it maybe your idea about the song or something like that, or not?
Actually, it was my idea. I came up with the song at the last minute. It took me a weekend to write it, and Away was waiting to record the drums in the studio because he had finished all the songs, and I was really surprised. He's a one taker, so it didn't take long for him to record the other songs. And there was this song left that I started at home, but I really wanted to finish it. It ended up a 12-minute song because I wanted to use the important parts of every song and glued them together in
Yeah,
disguise, and rearranged it. And Snake came along with the melodies from one song over the riff of another song, and I had to arrange everything. And then I wrote a string quartet arrangement at the end of the song. So it was a lot of work. And I came up with the idea and the mycelium, the connection between parts of every song, like the trees and the plants are communicating together. It was the
yeah, yeah,
concept of it. So I came up with the idea, but the lyrics were already in the other songs. So there
yeah.
was no real new lyrics and new melodies. It's all the same material with a little bit of new material, but all in disguise and connecting together so everything works and we're connected.
Yeah, yeah, and when I typed Sonic Mycelium on YouTube, I found this weird video where like the guy connected something to mushrooms, and basically like they have their language or frequencies or whatever. So
Yeah, I think it plugs
it's
some electric.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
So
interesting.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Love it. Yeah. And yeah, recently, like I saw that some of the most poisonous mushrooms species is in Serbia, which is weird enough.
It's there's very poisonous here too, and so yeah, stay away from the mushroom if you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the second question of Amber Dawn. So I love the Target Earth album. I think it's really magical. Any reasons you are not playing any songs live from it anymore? Is there something about the album you are not totally happy with? So,
Well, I think we just want to play new songs, and we have to choose from the as many as we can. It's always a headache, building a set list because there's many songs that people want to hear, and there's some songs that we want to play, and so some of the albums are left out, at some point or another. So there's no real particular reason for it, but it's just the way it is.
yeah, 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 yeah. I understand. It's really hard, like to make a set list.
Yeah, especially with 15 albums in the catalog.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah. So another question. Yesterday was Piggy's birthday. I heard you say in a previous interview that one of your favorite riffs of his is from Experiment songs. So are there any other Piggy riffs that are your favorite, and are there any old songs you would like to play live but you haven't yet?
um I like all the I think pretty much all the stuff from Killing Technology and on to play on the guitar because it got more proggy and more technical, And so for me, it's strange, but I don't see it as guitar playing, just music playing.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter how I feel when I play a riff or another, but I like the whole, like playing with the bass and the interaction with the other musicians that makes the music complete. But for sure, playing the whole Dimension Hatross album and Nothingface album on a streaming show we did last year was kind of a dream come true, and all the songs in those two albums I really like to play. As for songs that I would want to play live, we did Jack Luminous 10 years ago, which I really enjoyed, but it's 17 minutes long, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
really hard to squeeze in a set list.
yeah,
Um, but really, it's hard to tell a specific songs or riff. They're all really cool. I really enjoy playing pre ignition live.
yeah, yeah.
It's one that we play more often now, and it's fun.
Yeah, and are you guys going to play, Nothing Face or Dimensional Hatress albums in its entirety live?
We didn't speak about it. We didn't talk about it. That's always a possibility since we did it in the studio. But for now, it's available on our website, and people can enjoy watching it. Our version of it live. It was really fun to do as well.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question. So, I think it's really cool how you guys are always promoting other bands by wearing their shirts. How many band T-shirts do you think all of the members of Voivod have combined?
Oh my God, tons! But we have to sometimes throw it away and buy new ones, or get new ones because of it's stinky and it's smelly because of the tours, and it's pretty worn out for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
years. But I don't know. I mean, tens of t-shirt, like maybe not hundreds, but
yeah,
we have a lot.
yeah. And
Sometimes
what?
we have a few copies of the same one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you see us with the same shirt on different days on the tour, but it's not really the same. It's just the
It's
same
not the
design.
same.
We're not that disgusting.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but what is like your favorite T-shirt? Do you have some favorite T-shirt?
Oh, I really like when I really love a band, I wear the shirt all the time. Like I did a lot of I wore a lot of Cardiac shirt in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
past years. Virus, Child
yeah,
Bite, bands like that. And Revocation, this is a new
yeah, yeah,
one,
yeah.
and so sometimes it's a Pat Metheny shirt, jazz. Or something that doesn't have anything to do with music or metal, but yeah, usually we're proud to share the love for an artist, and we try to bring it on stage so people can maybe see a logo that pick up their curiosity, and they go check it online. It's always sharing. It's always been there in the metal community, right?
Yeah,
And if you see someone with their rare shirts in the crowd, you say you probably go talk to the
yeah,
person.
yeah, of
Hey, I
course.
like this band too, and all that. So
Yeah,
it's really cool.
a conversation starter.
Yes, yes, that's true. Yeah.
And you mentioned Virus, so
Yeah.
like, are you a big fan of the Virus?
Yes, I remember they opened for Voivod in Norway maybe 10 years ago,
Oh my
and I
God.
was blown away because I didn't know the band, and I was
Yeah,
blown away. I couldn't believe it. So I bought the albums and shirts and became friends with them, and they eventually invited me to play on their last record, which is Gravity Seeker. So I played a solo on that album. I was really proud of it,
yeah,
really excited to be invited, and yeah. So I still listen to Virus from time to time. It's crazy.
yeah. They're like like Norwegian Voivod. You know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Very dissonant and a lot of
Yeah,
intricate. Yeah.
yeah. They're really different from most of the bands.
Oh, yeah.
Really
That's what I
crazy.
like.
But it's funny because they have like rock approach and metal approach at the same time. Like it's so crazy because
Yes,
it's not like a cliche of a heavy metal band like doing only like dissonant metal, but it's dissonant rock as well. So it's so crazy. I love
it's
it.
a kind of crossover which is works
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I really like the singer's voice as well. It's very unique.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Yeah. Okay, and the last question from Amber Dawn. So you are a vegan, right? Do you ever find it difficult to stay vegan while you're on the road? And what is one of your favorite vegan meals?
I'm not vegan. I tend to be vegetarian most of the time, and sometimes I do fish or eggs. So it's not a straight line for me.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't eat meat. That's maybe once a year. I will have some of my friend is a hunter, so I'll have
hi.
the good stuff. And I think personally that hunting is when it's done, in a way that you use every part of the body, and it's a kind of a necessity, and you don't participate in the industry of meat or whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that because it's dividing
yeah,
sometimes, but
polarizing. Yeah,
polarizing.
yeah,
But and on the my doctor told me you better eat meat once a year at least to
yeah,
keep some enzyme and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
you know, it's not a religion for me. It's not a straight line, but I most of the time I eat vegetarian, and there's so many good stuff. And when you use the right spices and you cook, there's so much you can do. And if when you go to the woods and pick up mushrooms and plants and stuff that are a lot of flavor in it, and you know how to cook them, like you can do anything. I don't really have a favorite meal, but it depends on how you feel during and what you have in the fridge or access to. And I improvise very often
yeah,
when
yeah,
when
yeah,
cooking. So
yeah. Okay, so the next question from Mel D Rocks. Do you have a solo project example, an instrumental album with original compositions and or tribute to your favorite guitarists, rock, jazz, etc.? So
it's very flattering as a question, but there's always a bulb lighting in my head when I hear or I read this kind of question. Is the first word that comes to mind is why. I really like to play in a band. I don't feel like I could offer a solo project that would be of interest, and I would probably be bored. So I don't have any plans for that, though I really appreciate the question or the interest
yeah,
towards it.
yeah, yeah.
It's flattering, but I'm more of a band guy than a solo project.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. So the next question is from Alexander Mail. So will you share demo versions of Lethargy at some point for die-hard fans? Give us a glimpse into what the next album could have
Mhm.
sound like.
That's very flattering too. Lethargy was one of the last song we played live, and it was a new song with Martyr, my first band that started
Yeah,
at 14 years old, and
so amazing, man.
we were quite young, and so this song we didn't really demo it because I programmed all the drums as I used to do pretty much for every song, and the only demo that there is programmed drums and guitars that I recorded. I think there's programmed bass at some point, or I don't think it's recorded. So there's not really a complete demo of that
Yeah, yeah.
somewhere. So we're not gonna release any of that.
But is there like a chance to have a Martyr show, a reunion show, or something like that, or maybe even a tour or something like that?
Uh,
Some new release, I don't know. Like everybody's hungry for Martyr.
yeah, more than ever. I wish it was the same 20 years ago, but since we stop, everybody's interested in it. So it's it's fascinating. It's really flattering, and it's I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Never say never, as they say, but it's unlikely at the moment. I have a lot of job with Voivod, and I enjoy the ride very much.
Yeah, I mean, too bad because I like I remember when I heard like Hopeless Hopes for the first time. I was like, my God,
Really,
and then
I
like
didn't.
Warp Zone, like wow, like,
The
insane.
evolution between albums were pretty, you
Yeah, yeah.
know,
Feeding the Abscess, was that the last, right?
yeah, very complex.
Yeah, and it's like I love it because like it has a melodic phase and also like a dissonant phase, like the Voivod influences. So it's like
Yeah,
perfect combinations of melody and dissonance. I think, and then I think like that's the hardest thing to pull out, like to
yeah.
balance things out. Not to be only melodic or not to be only dissonant, but like to, yeah.
It was a headache, man. To write this album was total. It was
Which
a
one?
total
Which one?
nightmare.
Which
The last one,
feeding? Yeah.
yeah, it drained my energy out. I was very busy going to school, university, playing gigs in the weekend, playing for artists, rehearsals here and there, and I was playing in a musical, and then I started teaching in college, and the music is very complex
Yeah.
because that's the way I felt at the moment. But yeah, I'm really proud of it though. We could manage to finish it.
Yeah. And what is like the album that you're the most proud of from the Martyr catalog?
Ah, uh, I mean, it's hard to tell, but we were so young. The first album is songs that we've written where we were 16, 17-year old,
Yeah.
until maybe
Amazing. Yeah.
18. And the second one, we were like 22. And so I'm really proud of everything we did for the age and for the innocence there is into it too. And I think it's pretty amazing. Now I'm in my mid 40s and I still hear about something I did in my mid 20s,
Yeah.
and people are still saying really good stuff about it, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And you're in
Yeah. Yeah.
Serbia, the other side of the planet from me, and you heard about my
Yeah. Yeah.
teenage year band, so I'm flabbergasted. You tell me, I remember hearing Hopeless Hopes. I'm like, what? Like, how did you get a hold of this album? I don't know.
I mean, like back in the day, there were some blogs, so that's how I was discovering music because like YouTube wasn't as big as it is today. So like
Yeah.
we all had like these blogs going on and U metal forums. So yeah, like there was like a local Serbian metal forum. So and a lot of metalheads had like this. They were running the forum, and you had all kinds of threads about the band, so you could
Hmm.
discover a lot of stuff from there. And like
Amazing.
metal archives. So yeah, I think that's
That's
everybody's
great.
best friend. So
Yeah. That's
and
amazing.
yeah, I remember like I saw a price of a Martyr CD. It was like really expensive because they're probably
Really?
out of print. So yeah,
Oh my God, you can find it on my website now, which is danmongrain.com. My name.com.
yeah,
There's CDs still, not so many left,
yeah,
but that's where to find them.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not it's not $100 each. It's
Yeah.
the regular price. No
Yeah,
worries.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so the next question, Timothy Izikovsky. Question number one: how did you get so awesome?
Oh my God, I don't know what to answer to that.
Yeah.
Am I? That's very flattering. So far I'm gonna have a good day, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know
Good
what it
vibes.
means.
Yeah. Probably like awesome, so awesome at guitar, or maybe in general. I don't know. Like,
I
I
mean,
don't know
if
what
if
was
it's
his what was he aiming at? But yeah, I think it's maybe both. I don't know.
On a musical level, just trying. I'm just trying to do my best all the time, and at some point it pays off. To you get better and better. I don't know. I'm looking forward to reach the awesomeness. Still, I'm not there yet. So I have a lot of heroes that I look, from below, and I try to reach the best that I can go, and I still feel like I'm scratching the surface of everything in music and in life. So I think that when you keep the curiosity, you keep improving, and you keep your brain in a elastic state.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's not rigid. You keep it elastic, and you kind of want to learn and learn, but I think it's harder and harder when you get older and older, but I think it's a good gymnastic. Music is good for that, as well as other type of art or activities. But I try to keep my game at a certain standard and try to learn, and always looking for new stuff and
yeah.
challenges.
And so when you look back at some older songs, do you ever feel like, man, this sucks, like this is bad or something like that?
Some parts I would sometimes I hear some stuff, and I say, I'm saying to myself, oh, this would have been better than this articulation or this rhythms,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
not so much, because that's which is it's like a picture. You look at the younger self in a picture,
yeah,
and you're
yeah,
not gonna say like, oh, this looked ridiculous or whatever. It was what it
yeah,
was,
yeah,
and you don't touch that. If I would play the same songs now, maybe I would perform it differently, or some of the lyrics or whatever. But from what the recording is, it's perfect that way it is. It's s- frozen in time.
yeah, of course. You cannot edit it, so yeah, maybe live, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Ron McGregor asks, what makes the Bond guitar so great for you?
Thanks, Ron. I know Ron. Um, Bond is a friend of mine since many years. I used to teach Louis-Philippe Bond, the luthier who makes my guitar now, in the 90s. He would drive 2 hours to come to my place to have
Wow.
guitar lessons. And many years later, we met again, and he said to me, I'm now a luthier, and I make guitars and all that." So we developed a relationship where we developed the product. uh, it's a good product from the start, but then, oh yeah, I think we can improve this and this and this and what. And so he's very all ears and all eyes open, and helping me in creating the best guitar there is for me, and I guess I can share it with the curious and people that are into what I do. And we are working on um, a new prototype of Chewy Mongrain signature model now, which is improved as well. The cutaway, the shape will be a bit different. The weight is more balanced, and all the hardware we chose. And of course, I really like the look of the instrument, the woods that he have. We can choose from his all the woods he keeps in his place, and he's a good luthier, and he's improving over the years. He's getting better and better. So yeah, the relationship we have, and the quality of the products and the look makes it perfect guitar for me.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go to my questions. Like, so you guys released Synchro Anarchy album, so are you happy with the reception of it?
Actually, yes, it's been great. Even better than the Wake, which was amazing.
Yeah,
We have great reviews all over the place. People really enjoy the more melodic side, but they all say it's it seems more melodic, but still very complex. I don't know how you do it. Like it's very. I think we reach a sound of this lineup is again, I feel like scratching the surface of a new way to write music together, and I have plans for the future. Some stuff I want to explore more, and it's still, I think, sound very voivodish. Piggy spirit is all over the place, but there's a lot of new elements and new approach to it from everybody, and that's what I really like about Away and Snake is they are very open-minded and welcoming, and as soon as they enter the jams, any ideas we come with turns into a Voivod story, like
Yeah.
it's so yeah, the reception is amazing. People sings the songs in the crowd, they know the lyrics of the new songs, and it feels just like a band that has 3 albums out, and the fans are exciting to know what's next. But even though it's a long career, almost 40 years now, and a 15 album, people are still exciting about new music. So we're not prisoner of the classics and the first albums and all of
Yeah.
that. It feels really, really good.
Yeah. And so when you compare it with the Wake album, so what's the main difference between the new one, the latest one, and the Wake?
Can we really compare? Uh, uh, can we really compare a canvas with another one? Right? It's really
Maybe.
hard to compare. For me,
Yeah.
it's a different story, different painting, different capsule in time. So, but maybe if I have a comparison to make, well, the process was very different. The Wake, we jammed together, we recorded jams, we worked on stuff between jams, we come back to the jam space, and then we developed the same thing again. But Synchro Anarchy was pretty much done right here in front of you. Like I've worked crazy hours developing the songs, arranging the songs, and actually Away worked a lot on the structures on the songs and programmed drums because we couldn't jam because of the lockdown. So it was back and forth file sharing between him and me. I would give some ideas uh, that I recorded maybe 1 year or 2 years prior, and then he would program drums with blank music and blank rhythms of drums without music because he felt this is the beat that I hear after this section, but he would not, of course, record any guitars, but only drums. So it's the first time that I write songs and riff and ideas on drums, naked drums track. So it was a challenge for me, and sometimes I would fool around with the structure he gave me. So it was a headache, a puzzle, a big puzzle and it was done in a period of 4 months, writing, recording, mixing, everything. So when we recorded the album, we never really played the songs together
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just jammed it maybe 3 or 4 days in the studio, and I came back and finalized the arrangement, and then we recorded it. So that tells me that everything is possible.
Yeah.
In any situation, we can be creative and use the challenges as a creative tool
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
go
Of course.
elsewhere with it. And that's why we can't really compare both because the process was so different.
And I guess it wasn't rushed because of the pandemic, right? So you
It
had a lot
was
of
not
time.
rushed,
Yeah.
but it was rushed because I started to write at the beginning of the pandemic and the lockdown, but then we have different in the band inner time schedule, time frame, how do you say sense?
Yeah.
And like me, I really enjoyed making stuff in advance and not to be rushed. But at some point, I don't know. I felt like it was not the good time to start writing. I didn't have much uh, response from the other guys. We were all busy and figuring out life in this context.
Yeah.
And at some point, the deadline was like, oh, we really need to record an album, so we have to compose it. So that's why it was done in a kind of a compressed, crazy schedule.
Yeah.
And I was teaching in college at the same time, and it was really, really crazy. And it led me to a few months later, I crashed. I had to stop working. I was exhausted, but anyway, it was part of the process, and so it was. Even though we had a 2 year period, it was all done in 4 months. So it
Yeah.
was really, really compressed.
Yeah, and it turned out great, I think so. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
And so, where is the Synchro Anarchy video recorded? Like, there is some like ruins or whatever. It looks really cool. I don't know where that
Oh
is.
yeah, this actually not so far from Rocky and I's hometown, a bit northern than Trois-Rivières. It's in a shop. Some friends of ours got a machine shop,
Hmm.
and so it was in a warehouse of the shop, and they removed they cleaned the whole place, and there's a conveyor with a hook and rails on top, and
Yeah.
all concrete stuff and machines everywhere. So it's a real shop, and they cleaned the place for us to shoot there at one day. And they went into the north of the city where there's another there's a I think um destroyed factory or something in the landscape, and abandoned. So they shot with a drone over there
Yeah. Yeah.
as well. So it's a bit post society
Yeah.
apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It totally has that vibe. And the guy with the gas mask, like running
yeah.
around, like,
A little wink from the past.
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And the gas mask reference. So, okay. So, do you guys have something new from the Voivod universe? So, what's cooking in the Voivod universe right now? Like,
Yes, we are putting out a new song, a cover song. We're really excited about. It's from the Japanese character Ultraman. So it's an EP, and we did three different versions. The first version is in three languages. I sing the Japanese part, and there's a whole Japanese version which I sing. There's three languages: French, English, Japanese, and instrumental version, like a karaoke version, so to speak. And
yeah.
because we grew up with the show when we were kids, it was something that was translated to French, and we could watch, on TV. And you remember Voivod covered Batman and Captain Scarlet. So at some point, I had the idea, hey, why not do Ultraman? Maybe we need Ultraman to save the world. And the concept is very sci-fi and futuristic, and we really enjoyed the show. It's kind of blurry for me, the show, but I watched it again on DVD. I bought it on the original version, and the song is a kind of a happy hero song, the main theme, which kind of distort with what Voivod usually does, but I arranged it so the Voivod sounds into it, and we did kind of a medley with the battling song
Yeah. Yeah.
at the middle. So it's really cool. I think fans will get it and will enjoy it.
And are you a fan of Japanese anime?
I'm not like a Japanese anime nerd. I don't watch them very often, but I've learned a bit of Japanese. I can have small conversation in Japanese. I can read some of it, and so I watch sometimes series in Japanese when I'm in a flight to go in another country, and we have 8 hours to kill. I watch Japanese movies, and I can get a grasp of what they say, even though I use the subtitle most of the time. So yeah, I went the first time I went to Japan. It changed my life. It was one of the first time I was. It was the first time I left North America. I went to Japan. And I couldn't believe the difference of culture. It was so much of a shock. And when I we went back 5 years later, it didn't change my perception. But I had the chance to visit there many weeks. I've been there 8 times, and I went to smaller village, deep Japan, not Tokyo,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
small villages and all that. So I appreciate the culture and the people's way of living and thinking, and on a more personal level. I've uh, I've learned how to make sushi with the 78-year-old woman who showed me how to do it properly, like the fishermen used to do when it
yeah,
was considered cheap food. Like a little bit like bouillabaisse in France, or the fish soup, or it's
yeah,
something like that. And yeah, so I don't know. I feel like there's a connection uh, since I've been there many times, and so I'm really happy we do the Ultraman.
yeah. That's amazing. And so, what's going on with the DVD 2? And are you guys going to release Voivod documentary finally?
Yeah, the documentary is almost finished. There was still interviews, like yesterday. I think they did an interview still, and but it's in the process, and there's always new stuff to add on. So it's surprising. And since a lot of it was during the pandemic, it slowed everything down. The DVOD too, I'm not aware of. DVDs are not super popular at this time as a medium. So I think the documentary will make up for it. Really,
Yeah,
really, really good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. And is there something else that you have in the works from the Voivod catalog? Something other than Ultraman and this documentary?
I can say that there will be something special for the 40th anniversary. We're working on it, but mainly now our focus is on the next tour with Opeth in Europe, and some shows we're gonna do headlining by ourselves, and we're gonna add maybe 10 days of shows after the Opeth tour, but. We're focusing on getting back together, playing the songs, warming up the machine again. And but we're working on projects for sure for 2023 that will be exciting for the fans. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, amazing. Yeah. And so, do you know anything about this seventh chapter and the final chapter of Voivod's stories? So, did the way like give up on that completely or not? Like, or are you maybe like are they maybe going to revive the story on the next album?
You know what, I think uh, I would really like it personally. uh, there was a talked about it when we did Synchro Anarchy, but we did another way. We went another way.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. It's in their hand mostly, and maybe it's restraining to write for Snake to write about this story. And he's the main
yeah, yeah, yeah,
writer now. We used to write a lot of the lyrics, but now Snake write the lyrics, and I think he wants to feel there's freedom about talking
yeah, yeah,
about one subject or another. So in a story that's boxed, so to speak,
yeah.
maybe it's a bit restraining for him. But I don't really know.
And do you maybe know is there going like this demo? Is it going to be released someday soon or
I have no
like?
idea. I never heard it. I
Yeah,
never heard it, and never had the chance. But I wish, man, for the fans, for the fan that I am too. I wish.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Yeah. Okay, so can you explain the difference of seeing Voivod as a fan, like back in the day, and like while you're playing as Voivod? So how like can you explain like to you
It's
how it feels like?
I wish I was in the crowd still and see Piggy playing, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I wonder what kind of music he would put out, you know. But
yeah, of course.
reality being reality, I'm when I'm playing live, I feel like I'm in the crowd and I'm on stage at the same time because I have the purpose or feeling to make the crowd feel what I would want to feel if I was there. And
Inception.
yeah, yes, I put myself there at the same time that I'm on stage, and it's really the same thing. I mean, we're the transmitter of a signal, and
Yeah.
there's a receiver, and without a receiver, there's no signal. It's
Yeah.
lost in space.
Yeah, yeah.
It's lost. So we are really literally connected by vibration. So for me, it's the magic that we're always looking for as a musician, as an artist. You want the signal to have a receptor, and then we can communicate. And
Yeah, yeah.
so whatever side you're on, the same thing happened, I think.
Yeah. And so what is like the crazy story about Piggy or something that you find so crazy about his guitar playing or something like that? Like,
I was always impressed with his guitar playing, of course, but I was always impressed with his writing. That's
yeah,
the thing that always uh, uh, talked to me. His composition, his way of writing music, his ideas, the chording, the structures, the odd time, the surprises, the conversation between instrument. It was a great teacher for me in that way. And his guitar playing, he was very bouncy on the guitar and very. He would play very lightly on the strings though, but it would sound like he's banging on it because of the way it would like a good drummer will rebound on the drums, not kill the
yeah,
head. So it's the same with the guitar. He used to play like that, and so I had to change my playing a bit. But even though we have a really different kind of playing, and he was really he had an ease. It seems really easy for him to play and to close his eyes and be into the music.
yeah,
So I appreciate that.
yeah. And I remember like Eric Forrest, he told me like while they were recording, I don't know, Phobos or Negatron. So like Piggy would just hit the guitar strings and he would leave the guitar, and that would be like a guitar solo or something like that, or some guitar effect. I don't know. I forgot like the exact detail that he told, but
Maybe a
it was something like,
feedback, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
he
yeah.
would use that like as a part of the song. Like he would put that into the song. Like he would hit the string and say like, "Hey, that's our sound effect," or something like
He
that.
was so creative, that guy. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
Eh, he's inspiring.
yeah.
Very inspiring.
And did you ever meet him?
Yeah, I met him twice, and I had one pretty good conversation with him. And but I was such a punisher, so like to speak. I was such a fan, so I had the chance to. I have a picture with him, me and him. I'm in my early 20s, and that's a good memory for me.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, let me see. We have a couple of questions left. So, but can you like describe the difference between playing in Voivod and in Martyr? Like what's like the main? How do you feel
Uh,
about that?
well, in Martyr, I was the front man, so I was communicating directly with the crowd, which is quite a responsibility and a different role, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I miss that sometimes to be at the microphone, but musically, Martyr was kind of a band that we would play by pushing the tempo forward a little bit, very stressed, very pushy, very technical as well,
Yeah.
very surgical.
Yeah.
In the part were so complex that we had to play perfectly, because if you don't play perfectly, it sounds like
Yeah.
shit. It sounds like mud. It sounds like nuts everywhere,
Yeah.
So in Voivod, there's more time to breathe, and there's more complementarity between bass and guitars, because there's not two guitars. There's
Yeah. Yeah.
one guitar, and the bass plays a role of a bass and sometimes a guitar and
Guitar. Yeah.
sometimes both.
Yeah.
So it's a different approach, different sound, but we can. I use less and less distortion as the lead as the years go by, and the bass is pretty distorted too. So the playing in Voivod is a little bit more loose, a bit laid back, because Away has this groove of playing a bit behind the beat. As in Martyr, we played a bit in front of the beat, and
Yeah.
so I had to adjust at the beginning when we were playing together, Away and me, and so that and as well as a guitar player, frontman, main singer in a band, I had to think like Geddy Lee, saying that word when my pinky hits that fret, and because it was very complex stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just playing it was complicated, but playing it and singing at the same time,
Yeah.
and interacting with the crowd, and it was a nightmare, really.
Yeah, yeah. I remember like trying to pull out the riff, and it's like one of the simpler riffs from Martyr. Like, I think it's Prototype or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
But it has some classical thing, like, with fingers like this. And I kind of played it, but not, I think, 100% well. So, yeah, it's really technical stuff. Like, you have
Yeah.
to sit down and like focus on every note, and it's so intricate. Like,
Some songs we had to rehearse, because we didn't play tours with Martyr. We played two shows here, stop and go back home and play two shows here. And so if we were like not playing for a few weeks, we had to rehearse at least two or three times to get the band back together and tied,
yeah.
because it was so hard to play. And some of the songs I remember live thinking, why am I doing this, to myself, and I never. There's one song, "The Fortune Teller." There's a part in that one song I never could sing it while playing. I faked it, because in the studio I did the vocals separately than the guitars, and I ended up playing it live, and I couldn't, because the rhythm was so contradictory. It
Yeah.
was impossible for me to, so I faked it all the way. That's the only part I think I really had trouble with.
Yeah. And did you ever think of like recording vocals for Voivod in one song or two or something?
Oh, I did pretty much all the backing vocals on Synchro Anarchy. What you hear on the record, most of it is my voice. Snake did some of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you think about like lead vocals, like, you as a main, like replacing Snake in a song or two or something?
No, no, no. Snake is the voice of Voivod, and
Yeah.
as well as Eric Forrest is the
Yeah.
voice
Yeah.
of Voivod. He got such a character out of his voice, and he's a great melodist. He finds the craziest melody. Sometimes the rhythm is so fucked up, and he comes with a
Yeah.
simple line, and he's been doing that for 40 years. So no, nobody can replace Snake. I don't want to replace Snake or anything. It's not my job. I just play the
Yeah.
guitar.
Yeah. 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 And what about your brother Francois? So is he still playing bass? Is
I
he
think
having a
so.
band or something like that?
I think he just rejoined an old friend's band, a local band in Trois-Rivières. I think he's still playing. But uh, I think that's it. He's not been playing in the band for the last 10 years, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so and the last question. So what album are you listening to recently?
Recently, I had the new Revocation. I had which kicks ass. It sounds great, great
Yeah.
performance. I've listened to the last Pat Metheny album, because I went to see the show, and the album is live. It's called Side Eyes.
So
or Sided Eye.
he's still playing guitar, like he's
Oh,
still like
yeah.
he's still I because I was listening to some of his albums, but I didn't even have a idea that he's still like touring or whatever.
Yeah, he's amazing. He was very generous in Montreal a few weeks ago, and it was the first time for me to see him. It was great, and the album is live and it sounds amazing. He
Yeah.
got an orchestra on or on stage, mechanical kind of a
Wow.
orchestra, all programmed and all that. So it's crazy, and I listened to some funk. I really like the Meters, an old funk band from New Orleans in the States, and I listen that in to that in my car from time to time. So it's very varied. And the last Child Bite EP that I really enjoyed as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Amazing.
so from time to time, I don't have a lot of time to listen to music because I teach music, I write music, I play music, I perform music, I do correction. So when I have time off, I avoid it. But sometimes when I have to drive a long way, I put a CD on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing. So, do you have some last words for this interview?
I really wish we can go back in Serbia soon.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope
Like,
so.
yeah.
It would be great, and to meet in person again,
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's,
keep the scene alive. And I'm sure we'll see each other very soon.
yeah. So, thanks so much for this interview and have a nice day. See ya.
You too. Cheers.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.
Hey people, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Agoraphobic News. Please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel to help us grow. You can also support us on Patreon by becoming one of our patrons.
And big shout out to our patrons Amber Dawn and Season of Mist for supporting our work.
So stay tuned for another interview and keep it metal.